Greetings. My name is Atodd.
My name's Sara.
And this is our first official YouTube show. I am a professor of communication at Bakersfield College. And I've had several students request over the past several semesters that we put together a show. And we've been talking about this for a while.
Oh, well, I'm thinking between 2 and 3 years.
It's been in the works for a while, and we finally just said, let's just do this.
Yeah.
One of the things that I do, my interpersonal communication class, one of the things that I do is I have students write down questions about identity, about relationships, quality of life, philosophies of life, things like that. And so we just kind of go through and answer those. And this is mainly what my students have talked about when we talk about doing this type of a podcast, or I guess not a podcast, a YouTube channel.
Right.
See, we're learning here. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to answer questions and everything, and hopefully this will work. Hopefully that we'll get feedback from you, and we'll kind of learn and grow as we do this.
Right.
Sara is our engineer and producer. Is that what we are officially calling you?
Or, just technical person. I'm a professional techie. I do a lot of local theater around town, so techie usually tends to be a very fitting title.
She's the official techie, and I am the professor. I have a master's degree in communication, specifically in interpersonal communication, relationships, and identity. And so we're going to talk about those things, and hopefully you'll get involved and send us your questions, make comments below. I've heard that.
Right.
So make comments below.
Very common.
So you'll make comments below and ask questions, and we can answer those in future episodes. So.
Right. So first and foremost, my name's Sara. I was a student of Atodd's back in, I think we figured 2005.
I was 17 at the time.
And I was 9. I took interpersonal communication with my boyfriend, now husband, and we ended up forming a friendship. And then I became a communication ambassador.
Right.
And then that made the friendship a lot stronger and different because we were kind of on the same plane with the same goal.
Mm-hmm.
And then after I graduated, 2 degrees, 1 in theater arts, 1 in communication, we just continued the friendship. And then, of course, my mom was a big help with planting your garden. So we were around.
We've been friends for a long time. So this is more than 10 years, like 15 years. Pretty close.
Something
Crazy.
like, I don't know, you were at my wedding. We danced to Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh, yes, we do. Yeah. We have lots of inside jokes. We have lots of things like this. So I think the chemistry here between us is going to be a lot of fun. I don't know that we'll always agree, which is fine.
Totally fun.
I'm looking forward to having different perspectives on these different issues and things like that. I kind of have the book smarts. I also life coach. I life coach people that are going through divorce and life changes right now. We'll talk about that in more detail later.
Right.
So I do a lot of life coaching. Sara's got the street smarts.
Yeah, I would say I'm more street smart. I'm more, let's not park down the dark alley that way. Let's go towards the actual meter down the,
You've seen too many scary movies and don't do this.
I've lived too many scary movies.
Awesome.
But yeah, so I just, Atodd, so I'll give you, I'm 33 years old. I have been married for about 5 years, but we've been together since sophomore year of high school. So, it was, Gothic sweethearts turned into Gothic marriage.
You've almost 20 years.
Yeah. It's getting to the point to where we figured the math. We've been together longer than we haven't been together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm also not from the Central Valley. I was born and raised in the Bay Area, and I moved to the Central Valley in '99, so I have a little bit of life experiences growing up in a big city in comparison to the Central Valley being the biggest little city in California.
Right.
So let's go ahead with question number 1.
Exciting.
Anonymous question. How do you build better professional relationships?
Which is hilarious that's our first question, because we are friends, and we one of the jokes that we have is that we
have a professional relationship. So there's certain things we do not talk about.
Right.
Absolutely not at all. And there's certain things, you're my friend, and there's sometimes when you have these shirtless, muscular photos on Facebook,
I don't know what
and
you're
I'm just
talking
like,
about.
congratulations on your third round of P90X. I appreciate that. I'm so proud of your success. But I just really...
She's talking about someone else, I'm sure of that.
Oh, of course.
Professional relationships. Let's talk about this for a minute.
Yeah.
What's the question again exactly?
How do you build better professional relationships?
Well, one of the things, we were just talking about this, one of the things that I think is important is to keep a relationship professional in the workplace.
Yes.
Incidentally, I think we may go into some gray areas, not in this episode, but in the future we may talk, grown-up stuff. But at work, you need to be careful. I can honestly say I have never knowingly, because I'm clueless sometimes, but I've never knowingly flirted on campus or talked dirty on campus. And those are the lines that you cannot cross.
Right.
And you have to be careful. One of the other things that I do as a professor, especially of relationships and identity, I have students come to me all the time and ask me questions about their relationships, their self-esteem, their depression, things like that they're going through. And so I have what I call a safety rock that I put in the crack of the door. So I don't have a window on my door, so I never shut the door with anybody. Faculty, administration, students, anybody. I don't go into my office and shut the door with anybody unless they're my family.
Right.
And so I put that stone there and everything, and I call it a safety rock, and I talk about it in my class. If you want to have a conversation with me, it'll be private, but the door will not be closed completely. Also, when class is over, I was just telling her, when class is over, I have somebody open the door, block the door open with a garbage can or with a doorstop or something, just so in case somebody needs to have a conversation with me and we're the only two in the room, that it's not awkward. And you know what? It's really too bad that we have to be that careful.
Right.
But when it comes to professional relationships, I don't think you can be too careful. Now, I will say this. I have had conversations of an adult nature at work before, but they were appropriate. And again, nobody was talking dirty and nobody was flirting,
right.
So I think that's important to be able to do that and you protect yourself. I like to tell stories. I have a story. I used to manage an engineering firm as one of the office managers in Phoenix. And it's a large international corporation. There was another sales engineer at another location. I want to say St. Louis, I don't remember exactly. But he dropped the F-bomb all the time, which I think is pretty common these days, and it's got about a tenth of the kick that it used to 10 years ago. But this was about 10 or maybe even 20 years ago, and he would just talk like that all the time. Mm-hmm. And one of the office managers said, I'm really uncomfortable with that kind of language. Could you please not use that kind of language around me? And he said, I'm sorry. I'll stop everything. Well, 2 minutes later or less, he's dropping the F-bomb again. I think that some people just talk that way. I don't think that they're even aware that they're talking like that. So long story short, he got several verbal warnings, a written warning, final warning, a warning from HR. He kept doing it, she kept complaining, and nothing happened. Well, she sued the company. And although I don't necessarily agree with this part, she sued for sexual harassment. In my opinion, that's not sexual harassment. It's just not appropriate professional behavior.
Right.
But she won, and she got a settlement, and he was fired. So, a little extreme, granted.
Yeah.
But you have to be really careful at work, what you're doing, what you're saying, and your actions, and just topic matter, and I'm just really careful.
Well, and I think also there's points in communication that you have with someone where you feel it veering off track, and you can go, can we keep this a little bit more professional now, please?
Absolutely.
So you can, you have the right to establish those boundaries with the professional people. It's like, can we talk about this at a later time? Or, in the confines of work, I want to keep this work related. If you want to talk about your vacation, by all means, but right now, I just want to get these papers filed.
Absolutely. And the thing is that most Americans work in small businesses, which is typically anywhere from 1 to, I think, 80 people.
Or I thought it was 25.
I don't know. There's a size. It's not but most people work in small offices for small businesses and everything. And you might work with these people for 10, 15, 20 years, and you need to be professional with them. Mm-hmm. And you know what? You could end up being their boss. They can end up being your boss. And I know you're friends and you go to lunch together and things get personal and things get casual and everything. I would not go there. Right. And even though everybody else is talking dirty, everybody else is talking about their sex life, everybody else is talking with that kind of language, I would discourage that from happening just because you need to protect yourself in the workplace.
Boundaries.
Boundaries. Absolutely. Good.
Thank you.
That's our first question.
Yay. Okay. Why am I not an affectionate person? Oh, 5 love languages.
Yeah, 5 love languages. Well, of course, I'm not the one that wrote this. Gary Chapman wrote a book in 1993, I believe, called The 5 Love Languages. It's very popular, very well known. I'm confident that I'm not the first person telling you about it.
I'll try to put a link, if it's on Amazon, I'll try to put a link to where you can go and get it yourself.
Yeah, and actually, as I understand it, the entire text of the original book is online. I think they put it online for free. So
it's great.
Yeah.
I'll try to look for that.
The 5 love languages are, help me out there, physical touch, words of affirmation, gifts, acts of service, and touch.
Yes.
Okay. So different people love in different languages. The story that he tells, I'm completely paraphrasing, the story that he tells at the beginning of the book is a couple that's newly married, and his love language is touch, physical touch and snuggling and everything. Hers is quality time. Well, he's new in corporate America. He's working a lot of hours. He's not coming home, or he's coming home late from work, like 7 or 8 at 9 o'clock at night. She's got dinner ready to go at 6 o'clock. She said, we're having dinner at 6. He doesn't get home. I'm sorry. He sends her a text. I'm not home. He's not home till 8 or 9 o'clock at night. Well, by the time he gets home, she's not happy.
Right.
Because she didn't get her quality time, and he's not happy because he's not getting any physical touch or snuggling. Everything.
Right.
So they love each other, but they're missing each other. Does that make sense? So when you're in of course, romantic relationships, but really any kind of relationship.
Absolutely. I have my mother-in-law is a gifter, and it took me a couple years to learn that she shows her love in gifting. Yeah. And so actually we just had our wedding anniversary, and we received an anonymous package of a Jack Skellington cheese board with matching knives. And we were just like, this is a great gift, but there's no note, there's no card, there's no nothing. And then 2 hours later, it's my mother-in-law going, happy anniversary, kids, love you. And we're just like, oh, thanks, Mom.
That's cool. So what's your love language?
It depends.
Really?
I change depending on like the person.
Oh, so it's relationally specific for you.
Yeah, it's really, and it's taken me a long time to learn that. I have some people who I feel more compelled to give gifts to. I have some people who I'm just like, I just need this time, like put the phones down, turn the TV off, and let's just talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, quality time is the most common.
Yeah.
Gifts is the least common. Mine is words of affirmation. I like quality time too. I'm becoming more and more of that. It's interesting when I learned about this concept in non-romantic relationships. My children, I have a son and a daughter. They're teenagers. My daughter is quality time, and what that means is I sit down and talk to her. I listen to her. She tells me about her. She's really into makeup, so she tells me about makeup, and I pretend like I get it and I understand. I ask her questions that are relevant. She talks about YouTubers. She talks about, we're YouTubers now. That's kind of cool. Maybe she'll listen to me more now. And I ask her questions, and we just basically spend time together doing stuff like that. Okay. My son is physical touch, and he's a teenager. He's almost 16, and very, very cool, and very popular, and very good looking, and all that, and everything. So he's like kind of cool to hug dad all the time, but he still gives me hugs from time to time. But really, this is awesome. He's probably gonna kill me if he sees this. But because he's so cool, we sit on this couch and we'll watch TV or something and everything. But if he's sitting next to me or at church, he'll make sure that his knee is touching my knee.
Oh, cute.
Make sure his elbow is touching mine or something. So it's not snuggling. We're not like
but it's
just a little bit of touch and everything.
Little
so that's just his little connection to me, and I don't say anything about it. So hopefully he doesn't see this for a while. But I don't say much about it. But that's just kind of our love language between us and everything. So
if you want to become a more affectionate person, try to discover what love language speaks to you in that particular interpersonal relationship.
Right, go ahead.
And then I was just going to say, and then try to see how you can incorporate that. Like maybe you're not someone who's super touchy-feely, but just that like quiet coffee, talk to each other kind of thing is more your style.
Right, and it can be relationally specific. I also think that most of us have a main love language that we use that kind of resonates with us. Yeah, so it can be relationally specific.
Absolutely.
Individual.
Yeah.
All right.
Great, thank you.
Next question.
How do I connect with anybody I meet?
How do I connect with anyone I meet? All right. I don't know where this line comes from. I use it all the time. I don't think it's an Atodd Jones original. I can't claim that it is, but my thing that I always say is, You don't have to be interesting, you just have to be interested. People love to talk about themselves. Ask them questions about them.
Yeah.
How long have you been at Bakersfield College? What's your major? Oh, that's really cool. What are you going to do with that? Are you going to go ahead and get a bachelor's degree? Where are you going to go? People love to talk to you about things like that. One of the things that in our family, we have a challenge. If we go to one of the grocery stores or Target or Walmart, one of the things we have to do, and I tell my kids they have to do this and they don't always do it, but we have to have a conversation with somebody. So my example that I always use in class is I was at Winco and I was looking at vegetables and everything. I pulled up a squash and I turned to this lady and I said, "How do you cook this?" And she went on for 5 minutes about how to cook the squash. And I asked her all kinds of questions and everything. And it was just a simple thing, but she was so excited somebody was excited about squash. Okay?
Right.
So I asked her questions, and even though it was more about squash than anything, it was kind of sort of all about her. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's kind of, and we didn't, and I don't know her name, we're not in touch, we're not connected or anything. Yeah.
The squash lady.
Yeah.
Wow.
I do have another story.
Oh gosh.
Okay, it's no secret to those of you who know me that I love Christmas. I am the regional vice president of Christmas. I love Christmas.
You cannot tell because of the frame that we've built that there are 1, 2, 3 Christmas trees and 2 wreaths within, I'd say, 10 feet of where we're sitting.
Oh, 30 or 40 feet. We have 8 trees, and 2 big wreaths. All right, anyway, so we were at I don't know if we're supposed to say Pier 1. We were at Pier 1. We were at Pier 1. I don't know how this works as far as copyright goes and everything. We were at Pier 1 about a year ago last November, and it was a private party that we by invitation only for people who were really into Christmas decor and everything. So we were at this party and everything, and this lady, I started talking to this lady, she asked, "Can you reach that for me?" And she goes, "I just love this." And she looked around, she goes, "I'm a Christmas fanatic." And she says, "I have 7 Christmas trees." And I said, "Me too." At the time I had 7, now we have 8. I said, "Me too." And she said, "I love Christmas. I think about Christmas year round." And I said, "Me too."
Oh my
so we talked for a while, and she goes, "We should be friends." And I said, "We are friends." And so we text all year long about Christmas and everything. And even in July, there's Christmas in July sale going online, and you know what I mean? So we talked about everything. She came and helped me decorate the house in early November. So we've become friends, and it's a lot of fun. So, you know, what was I want to make sure that I'm following the question.
Yeah, so it was connecting with people that you meet.
I think it's a good habit to be in, to connect with people, to have conversations with people. Get off your phone, especially in a public environment. Ask people questions, talk to people. I love those shoes. Compliment people, talk to people, have conversations. Even if it's just, "Hey, have a good day," or "Merry Christmas," or I love your shirt," or "Your hair looks so nice today," or whatever. I realize sometimes that can come across.
But you can also use context clues. You know, if you see someone and they're wearing a Harry Potter shirt, you go, "Oh my gosh," and you're in conversation, you want to connect with them, you can go, "Oh my gosh, what house are you in? What's your favorite movie?"
Right.
And then see if, okay, well, maybe they're not into the movies, maybe they like books. "Oh, well, do you like books? Maybe you like reading. Oh, what's the last book that you read?" And then from context, like me, my favorite color are skulls, but skulls isn't a color, it's a pattern. So my favorite color is black. So a lot of people will ask, like, "Oh, I love your leggings. Oh, thank you, it's in my favorite color." And then it starts a conversation that skulls aren't a color, it's a way of life.
I know. We'll talk about that another time.
But it's you can use the context clues around you to help find connections or ways to connect or ways that you have similarities, and then go from there. Okay. And some people are just, harder nuts to crack.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think that's it for today. I think that our first episode is almost in the can.
Right.
Wish us luck.
Yeah.
We're hoping this will work out, and we hope to post regularly and cover all sorts of things. We'd love to hear your questions about the topics we just discussed.
Yeah.
Comments, questions, any other questions that you might have about identity, relationships, things like that. We'd love it.
Yeah.
Sounds great. So we're signing off. Help us to find a name for our YouTube channel. We'll figure that out. We'll figure it out.
Good. Yeah.
And maybe we can have a contest or something.
Ooh.
Send your ideas in the comments below,
yes.
and we'll be in touch.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.